Hi, fam. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys listening to me and subscribing and leaving favorable comments. Thank you. So, kind of wanted to share a story of early on when my ex husband, I know I'm going to be saying a husband, but at this point, I'm no longer with him. I'm divorced, so he is an ex. But anyway, this was early on in our dating experience. We were invited to a wedding. So there was a couple. We both knew the couple, and they were getting married in the church. And so my ex husband and I, at the time he was my boyfriend, we decided to go together as a couple. So, knowing that I had already seen his kind of like his taste in fashion, I decided that I wanted to kind of ask him what he had planned on wearing. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe we could coordinate. Um, so I asked them, I said, so what do you plan on wearing to the wedding? And I don't even think he had a suit. Um, um, I think we went to get a suit or something that was up to date. That's something that he had in his closet from 15 years ago. But then I said, well, what shoes are you going to wear with the suit, with this attire? And he had brought over to show me his shoe selection. And it was this brown looking shoe, totally outdated. And I was like, well, that's not gonna go well with the shoe, with the suit. Anyway, so I said, well, I'll pick up something. I'll pick up a couple of items. If you don't like them, we'll return them. So I went to the store, picked up, I believe, two pairs of shoes. And I specifically told them, hey, listen, you can reimburse me, whatever. It's not a big deal. We're dating. I figured at this point, I saw some, I had a glance of a future, guess I'm going to say. Um, so I picked up the shoes. He came over, looked at the shoes, picked up, selected the black, kind of like patent leather looking shoe. Really nice. It was kind of fashionable. It was up to date, that I remember. And he decided he was going to wear those shoes with the suit, right? So it wasn't until maybe, I don't know, months later, I'm finding out through mutual friend that he's saying that he wasn't happy that I went out and bought these shoes for him to wear, as if I was controlling his decision. And I'm like, at the time I was thinking, what kind of man would not be happy or not see the value in having someone who cares enough to want him to look his best, really? That's really what it was. It wasn't really that I was being controlling. I knew I was going to wear something that was up to date um, to the wedding. I wanted to, of course, stand out as always. If I'm going to an event, why not? I want to look my best self. And so here he is complaining. And I said, no, I did not buy pair of shoes to control you. I wanted you to look your best. And plus, I gave you the option, to select the shoes. And if you didn't, he could have said, no, I'm going to wear my busted looking brown shoes. Anyway, I didn't make a big deal about it. I kind of brushed it off afterwards. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe next time I just won't bother doing that. But what ended up happening, to be honest, he came over to visit one day. And normally, you take your shoes off at the front of the door. That's always been the case for me growing up. Once I had my own place, of course, I carried on that tradition. I take my shoes off as I'm entering the house. If I have my slippers right by the door, I'll put on my slippers, or I just walk without barefoot, and then and that's it. Not a big deal. That's normally how we do it. The dirty shoes that we wear outside, we don't come in the house with them. So he came to visit me, left his shoes at the front door, right? Not sure where he was, what he was doing, but I remember going to the front door and one of the shoes kind of flipped over and I noticed there was a hole on the bottom of the shoe. I was like, oh, why is he walking around with shoes with holes which means that if he's wearing socks or if there's water, naturally his socks are going to get wet or his feet will get wet. So I didn't say anything. But again, that should have been a red flag, right? Like if he doesn't care enough about his presence when he goes places, presentation means a lot. First impression means a lot. And I always tell people, listen, first impression is the last impression. Because if someone doesn't know you from Adam and you come in your worst outfit, that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember the potential of what you could have looked like. They're going to remember exactly how you presented yourself. So anyway, here I am not following my belief, right? So I didn't say anything about the shoes. I just remembered I kind of indirectly hinted and said, hey, such and such places has a sale. This must have been weeks later. I said, how about if you just save a certain amount of money and I'll take you there so that you can see what they have and maybe you can kind of, shop so that you can have multiple selections, I kind of said it that way. And then eventually he was open to it. We went shopping and he got a couple pairs of shoes. And what I did, I specifically told him to just wear the new shoes walking out of the store and put the old shoes in the box and give those shoes to the sales clerk and just tell him to put the shoes in the trash. And that's exactly what he did, because my fear was if he did not get rid of those shoes, he was going to wear them again. And I saw that behavior throughout the marriage, believe it or not. What you see while you're dating is exactly what you're gonna get during the marriage. Unless this man is convincing himself that he needs a change, you yourself cannot change him. I could not change him. In fact, throughout the course of the marriage, I specifically remember him saying repeatedly that I'm trying to get him to higher standards or to my standards. And I'm like, what is my standard? And I kept on questioning myself throughout the marriage. What was my standard? To look good when I go out? To wear things that look good? I wanted to make sure that I felt good when I went out. I didn't want to keep on working, save, and not enjoy my money that I'm working hard for. And so I'm leaving this post to say, if you have someone in your life and you think by marrying them, or once you marry them there will be a significant change, just be realistic. Be realistic. Say to yourself, if this person never changes, what will I do? Because you can't enter the relationship or the marriage with the idea that you're going to change the person. It's just not going to work. I lived it. I can only speak from experience. And this is the story that I want to leave you with. It wasn't about the shoes. It wasn't about me controlling him at all. It was really trying to make him see that the way he was living wasn't the optimal way to live, you know. And do you know what? Now that we're divorced, he's back to his old self. He wears his shirts with holes. You know, he doesn't really care if the shoes are down to the ground. That makes him happy. And you know what? He's now has someone in his life, and I don't know if she sees the way he is, but apparently she's happy with just how he is. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm simply thankful that I don't have to deal with the stress level. You know, let him be someone else's stress level. If I'm just thankful. And I know my person is out there. I won't have to make him wear a shirt without holes, but that will be his lifestyle. You got to be proud of who you are. And ultimately, my prayer is for me to meet someone who values those things. You know, when you step outside of your door, you should be able to present yourself in the best light. I'm not saying you have to wear Gucci or brand names, but no, but you should be clean. You shouldn't have holes in your shirts. You don't have to wear your worst pairs of shoes. If you're working 8 hours a day or 9 hours a day, you should be able to at least have a decent wardrobe. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose to work every day and not reap the benefit. So, thank you for listening, friend. That's one of the many stories that I will share. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for listening.